Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you with one simple message: fight for the life you truly want. No more excuses. Too many of us are living beneath our potential. Too many of us are allowing our fears, our doubts, and our excuses to chain us down to lives we don't love. And deep inside, we know it. We know there's more inside of us. We know we were meant for more than just surviving, paying bills, and waiting for the weekend. But here's the truth. Nothing changes until you decide to fight for it. The illusion of tomorrow, we all have that voice that whispers, I'll start tomorrow. I'll begin next week. When the timing is right, then I'll go after my dreams. Let me tell you something. There will never be a perfect time. Life will never hand you the ideal circumstances. If you're waiting for the right moment, you will be waiting until the end of your life. You can keep saying one day, but one day often becomes none day. Your excuses may comfort you today, but they will cost you tomorrow. And when the years pass, regret is far heavier than discipline. Your story is not over. Some of you have been knocked down. You've been betrayed. You've been broken. You've gone through things that made you feel like life has written you off. But as long as you are still breathing, your story is not over. I don't care how many times you've failed, how many times you've been rejected, how many people told you that you can't do it. As long as you are alive, you have another chapter to write. The great tragedy of life is not death. The tragedy is dying with your dreams still inside you. The tragedy is living a life that isn't yours because you chose excuses over effort. The battle is within. The biggest fight you will ever face is not out there in the world. It's in here, inside your mind. Your thoughts will try to convince you that you're not ready, that you're not qualified, that you're not enough. That voice will tell you to play it safe, to avoid the risk, to stay where it's comfortable. But let me tell you something. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Everything you dream of is outside your comfort zone. You will never discover your strength if you refuse to be stretched. You will never know how high you can rise if you don't dare to leap. No more excuses. Excuses sound good. Excuses give us a reason to stay the same. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the connections. Listen, if you fight for your excuses, you get to keep them, but you will also keep the life that comes with them. And let's be real, is that the life you truly want? The truth is, people have started with less than you and gone further than you ever imagined. People with less education, less support, less resources have built empires, not because they had everything, but because they refused to let excuses define them. The power of decision, your life changes the moment you say, enough is enough. I refuse to keep living like this. I will not settle. I will not shrink. I will not quit on myself. The day you decide, truly decide, that you will no longer negotiate with your excuses, that's the day you begin to rise. Decision is power. Decision is freedom. The world does not move for the hesitant. It moves for the committed. When you decide that your dream matters more than your excuse, nothing can stop you. The price of the dream, yes, there is a price. You will be uncomfortable. You will be laughed at. You will fail. You will cry. People will doubt you. And sometimes you will doubt yourself. But here's the secret. The fight is worth it. Every setback will build your strength. Every rejection will sharpen your determination. Every failure will be a stepping stone. And when you finally reach that moment, when you finally step into the life you've dreamed of, when you taste the freedom of becoming who you were always meant to be, every sacrifice will feel small compared to the reward. Imagine the alternative. Let me ask you something. What's the alternative? To keep living a life that doesn't set your soul on fire. To settle for less than you deserve. To wake up years from now full of regret, whispering, what if? No. You cannot afford that. Your future is too important. Your dream is too precious. Your life is too valuable. The call to action. So I challenge you today, stop waiting. Stop wishing. Stop hiding behind excuses. Stand up and fight for the life you truly want, because it will not be handed to you. You have to claim it. You have to earn it. You have to fight for it every single day. Fight when it's hard. Fight when it hurts. Fight when you feel like giving up. And remind yourself, this is my life. This is my dream. This is my time. Closing in the end, no one will remember the excuses you gave. They will remember the life you lived. They will remember the impact you made. They will remember how you refused to give up, how you fought for your dream, and how you inspired others to fight for theirs. So, tonight, when you lay your head down, I want you to make a decision. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Say to yourself, I will no longer settle. I will no longer wait. I will no longer hide. I will fight for the life I truly want. No more excuses. And when you do, the world won't be able to ignore you, because nothing is more powerful than a person who has made up their mind. So go out there, fight for your dream, and live the life you were destined to live. Excuses will comfort you today, but they will cost you tomorrow. Think about it. Every time you say, I can't because of this, or I'll wait until I'm ready, there is a sense of relief that washes over you. You don't have to take action. You don't have to risk failing. You don't have to put yourself in an uncomfortable position. Excuses feel like a blanket on a cold night, wrapping you in temporary safety. They silence the fear for a moment, but only for a moment. Because deep down, you know the truth. You know that while your excuses soothe you today, they are quietly stealing from your tomorrow. Excuses are clever. They disguise themselves as logic, as practicality, as common sense. They say, it's not the right time. I don't have the resources. Maybe later, when things calm down. And in the moment, it feels reasonable. But what is really happening? You're trading in long-term growth, fulfillment, and success for short-term comfort. You're sacrificing the life you could be living for the illusion of safety in the life you already know. Excuses are like credit cards. They let you delay the cost. You feel good when you swipe it, but the bill always comes due and with interest. When you look back months or years later and realize how much time has slipped through your fingers, the weight of those excuses becomes heavy. That weight is called regret. And regret is a price you don't want to pay. Excuses are dangerous because they feel harmless. One excuse doesn't feel like much. Skipping one opportunity, avoiding one risk, delaying one decision, it feels small. But excuses don't add up. They multiply. One excuse leads to another, and before you know it, you've built an entire wall between where you are and where you want to be. And here's the cruel part. You built that wall yourself. No one else put it there. Your excuses stack those bricks one by one. Excuses also lie to you about who you are. They whisper, you can't, and with every excuse you make, you start to believe it a little more. You reinforce the idea that you're not capable, not worthy, not strong enough. But that's not the truth. The truth is you are capable. The truth is you are stronger than you think. The truth is you don't lack ability, you lack commitment. And excuses are what keep you from making that commitment. When you refuse to fight your excuses, you allow them to steal opportunities you may never get again. That job you didn't apply for, that business you didn't start, that person you didn't approach, that book you didn't write. Excuses close doors that could have changed your life. And once those doors close, sometimes they never open again. You comfort yourself by saying, it wasn't meant to be. But deep down, you know the truth. You chose the excuse. The cost of excuses isn't just your dreams. It's your character. Every time you make an excuse, you weaken your resolve. You make it easier to give in the next time. You condition yourself to avoid instead of attack, to retreat instead of rise. Over time, that pattern shapes your identity. You don't just make excuses. You become someone who expects less, someone who settles, someone who surrenders without even trying. But let's be clear, excuses are not about ability. They are about choice. You have the power to choose whether you let them run your life. You have the power to decide that your future matters more than your comfort. Excuses only control you if you agree to their terms. Excuses are soft and comforting in the moment, but they are merciless in the long run. They will let you feel safe today, and then they will take away everything tomorrow. They will rob you of your dreams, your time, your confidence, and your legacy. That is the real cost. And once the years are gone, you can't buy them back. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Comfort is warm. It is familiar. It is safe. It makes you feel like everything is fine as it is, that there is no need to stretch, no need to struggle, no need to take risks. Comfort whispers to you, stay here. You don't need to move. You don't need to change. And because it feels good, because it soothes your fears, you start to believe it. But the truth is, comfort is quietly keeping you exactly where you are, locking you into the same patterns, the same routines, the same limitations. Comfort convinces you to settle when you were built to rise. Growth, on the other hand, demands discomfort. It requires you to step into the unknown, to face challenges that test you, to push through moments that stretch you to the breaking point. Growth means feeling awkward, nervous, unprepared. Growth means being willing to fail and look foolish. Growth never happens in the safe zone. It happens in the stretch zone. The place where you feel like you might not make it. The place where your heart beats fast and your stomach twists because you know you are facing something bigger than you've ever faced before. That's where the transformation takes place. When you stay in comfort, you are not avoiding pain. You are trading immediate discomfort for long-term stagnation. You are choosing the pain of regret over the temporary pain of growth. You may not feel it today, but you will feel it later. And the longer you sit in comfort, the harder it becomes to break free. Comfort becomes a cage disguised as luxury. It convinces you that it is protecting you when really it is holding you hostage. Think about a seed. For it to grow, it must break through the ground, push against the dirt, fight for sunlight. That process is not comfortable. But if the seed never pushes, if it stays buried in safety, it will rot. The same is true for you. If you stay buried in your comfort zone, you will never see the light of what you could become. Every skill you admire in others, every success you dream about, every level of confidence, mastery, and freedom you crave, all of it is on the other side of discomfort. That speaker who inspires thousands had to stand on a stage trembling the first time. That athlete who dominates their sport had to sweat, stumble, and hurt through endless hours of training. That entrepreneur who built their empire had to risk rejection, failure, and financial loss. None of it was comfortable. All of it required sacrifice. But that is the price of growth. Comfort also tricks you into believing time is on your side. You say, I'll start tomorrow, next month, next year. And while you wait, comfort lulls you into habits that waste your potential. Growth is never convenient. It will never wait until you feel ready. You will never wake up one day suddenly prepared. You must be willing to step forward even when you're scared, even when you're unsure, even when the outcome is uncertain. That willingness to act in spite of discomfort is what builds strength. If you look back on the moments of your life that changed you the most, they weren't the easy moments. They weren't the times you sat back and relaxed. They were the moments when you were challenged, stretched, forced to dig deeper than you thought you could. It was the heartbreak, the setbacks, the failures, the struggles that shaped you into someone stronger, wiser, sharper. Discomfort was your teacher and growth was your reward. Comfort will always try to call you back, to tell you that enough is enough, to convince you to stop trying so hard. But every time you choose comfort over challenge, you put your future on hold. Every time you step away from growth, you step away from becoming the person you were meant to be. Comfort offers you a life of ease, but growth offers you a life of meaning. If you fight for your excuses, you keep them and the life that comes with them. Excuses are seductive. They make you feel justified for staying the same. They make it easy to explain away why you haven't started, why you haven't finished, why you haven't stepped into your potential. You tell yourself it's because of the economy, because of your upbringing, because you don't have the money, the education, the time. And when you defend those excuses, when you fight for them, you are really fighting to stay exactly where you are. You're not just holding on to the excuse. You're holding on to the life the excuse has created for you. Excuses don't just delay action. They shape identity. Every time you argue for an excuse, you reinforce the idea that you are limited, that you are stuck, that life is happening to you instead of through you. You build a narrative that says, I would, but I can't. And the more you repeat that story, the more it becomes your truth. Before long, you don't even need anyone else to doubt you because you've already convinced yourself. You become the lawyer for your own limitations, presenting evidence to prove why you cannot succeed. And the verdict is always the same. You stay where you are. When you fight for your excuses, you also give away your power. You hand control of your life to circumstances, to other people, to the past. You say, I can't because of them. I can't because of this situation. I can't because of what happened to me. And while those things may be real, they don't define what is possible. They only define what is comfortable to believe. Fighting for excuses is easier than fighting for change because excuses don't demand effort. They demand surrender. The life that comes with excuses is predictable. It is a life of missed opportunities, of dreams pushed to the side, of potential that never sees the light. It is a life where you settle for what you can get instead of reaching for what you truly want. It is a life where regret sits heavy on your chest, where you wonder what might have been if you had stopped defending your excuses and started defending your future. Excuses feel safe because they protect you from failure. If you never try, you can never lose. If you never step out, you never risk rejection. But here's the cost: you also never win. You never discover how strong you really are. You never experience the pride of breaking through. You never get to feel what it's like to live fully alive. The safety of excuses is an illusion because the very thing they protect you from is the very thing that would set you free. The truth is, people with fewer advantages than you, fewer resources than you, fewer connections than you, have gone further than you ever imagined. They did not get there by clinging to excuses. They got there by letting them go. They chose to fight for their possibilities instead of their limitations. They chose to believe that their dream was worth more than their reason for not chasing it. That choice made the difference. Excuses will always be available. You can always find a reason to wait, a reason to stop, a reason to lower your expectations. But reasons don't build a life, decisions do. You cannot hold on to excuses and expect to rise. You cannot argue for your limitations and expect to experience freedom. When you fight for your excuses, you may win the argument, but you lose the life you were meant to live. Your story isn't over until you decide it is. Life has a way of making people believe that the chapters already written are the only ones that matter. You go through setbacks, heartbreak, disappointments and failures, and you begin to think that those moments define your entire existence. You start to believe that because things haven't worked out before. They never will. You begin to carry the weight of your past as though it is your destiny. But your story is not finished just because you've hit a rough page. Every single day you are alive, the pen is still in your hand. You still have the power to write the next chapter. Too often people surrender their future because they are ashamed of their past. They replay their mistakes. They relive their failures. They recite the times they fell short. Instead of using those experiences as fuel, they use them as shackles. They convince themselves they've already failed too much, that they've already missed their chance, that it's too late to begin again. But history is filled with people who didn't achieve greatness until after the world thought their time had passed. The truth is, the only moment you lose the ability to rewrite your story is the moment you stop trying. Every scar you carry, every wound you've endured, every heartbreak you've survived is proof that you are still here. You've been through storms that should have broken you, but they didn't. You've faced nights where you didn't think you'd see the morning, and yet you did. That means there is still something inside of you strong enough to fight forward. Your scars are not symbols of weakness. They are evidence of resilience. They show that even when life tried to write you out, you refused to disappear. It doesn't matter how many times you've stumbled. It doesn't matter how many times people walked out, how many doors closed, how many opportunities you think you missed. What matters is whether you are willing to stand up again. What matters is whether you can look at your past without letting it chain down your future. Every failure carries a lesson. Every disappointment hides direction. Every setback can serve as preparation for something greater if you refuse to let it define you. Your story isn't over because you are still evolving. Who you were yesterday is not who you are today, and who you are today does not have to be who you are tomorrow. You have the power to reinvent yourself, to grow, to learn, to shift course. Life is not about staying the same. It is about becoming. And becoming means you are always in motion, always rewriting, always shaping. As long as there is breath in your lungs, the ending has not been written. Some people will try to convince you otherwise. They will tell you it's too late, you've made too many mistakes, you've missed too many chances. But those are their limits, not yours. They are reading your story as if it's already complete, but they are not the author. You are. They don't get to decide when your story ends. Only you do. And the greatest twist in any story happens when the character everyone doubted rises anyway. You are not defined by the chapters you've already lived. You are defined by the chapter you choose to write next. The failures, the heartbreaks, the disappointments, those are not the conclusion. They are the setup. They are the tension before the triumph, the struggle before the strength. What looks like the end is often just the beginning of a new act. And if you can see it that way, if you can hold on through the pain long enough to turn the page, you will discover that the story you are capable of writing is far greater than the one you've already lived. Nothing is stronger than a made-up mind. Once you decide with absolute clarity that you will do something, that you will achieve something, that you will no longer accept anything less than what you truly desire, everything begins to shift. A made-up mind is immovable. It does not waver when circumstances get tough. It does not crumble when obstacles appear. It does not fold under the weight of doubt or fear. A made-up mind has a power that no excuse, no setback, no criticism can break. It becomes a force that propels you forward even when every part of you wants to turn back. Most people never reach that point of absolute decision. They dabble, they try, they test, they say things like, I'll give it a shot, or I'll see how it goes. But decisions never create full results. When your mind is divided, your energy is divided. You hesitate, you question yourself, you entertain alternatives. And in that hesitation, the opportunity passes you by. Nothing changes until the moment you declare with total certainty, this is what I will do, and nothing will stop me. That declaration is the birthplace of transformation. A made-up mind has carried people through battles, through struggles, through conditions that should have destroyed them. History is filled with men and women who had no reason to keep going except that they decided they would. The difference between the person who gives up and the person who rises is not talent, not luck, not resources. It is decision. It is the refusal to retreat. When the mind is made up, the body finds strength, the heart finds courage, and the spirit finds a way. Circumstances will never be perfect. If you wait for all the lights to turn green, you will never leave your driveway. A made-up mind doesn't need perfect conditions. It doesn't need guarantees. It doesn't need approval. It only needs resolve. Resolve says, even if it takes longer than I thought, even if it's harder than I imagined, even if I have to start over again and again, I will not quit until I reach it. That kind of resolve bends reality. Doors open, opportunities appear, strength multiplies, all because you refuse to accept defeat as an option. Nothing external can compete with the power of an internal decision. People can doubt you, laugh at you, reject you, walk away from you. Life can knock you down, strip away your resources, throw you into chaos. But if your mind is truly made up, none of that will stop you. You may bend, but you will not break. You may stumble, but you will not stay down. You may get delayed, but you will not be denied. Because once the mind has decided, the only direction left is forward. A made-up mind also eliminates excuses. When you are clear about what you want and committed to it, there is no room for I can't, or it's too hard, or maybe later. Those words lose their power because your decision has already been made. Excuses only exist in an undecided mind. Once you decide, you no longer debate whether or not to keep going. You only look for ways to move forward. That is why a made-up mind is unstoppable. It doesn't waste time arguing with fear or negotiating with doubt. It just acts. When your mind is made up, your actions align. You no longer scatter your energy. You no longer split your focus. You no longer chase things that don't matter. You become centered, disciplined, determined. You put your full weight, your full effort, your full belief behind your decision. And with that kind of force, mountains move. The world cannot resist a person who refuses to back down.